center of Caulfield. That's how exciting it is here. I was in Sydney 2 days ago, but it's so bubbly here, you know? Wherever I am in the world, I'm not comparing it to Melbourne, I'm comparing everything to Caulfield. So whether you're in, Byron Bay, Gold Coast, or New York, I'm always comparing it to Caulfield. People sometimes ask me, Gabby, what's the future of retail? And I say, I don't know what the future of retail is, it's the future, exactly. So I can answer anything that happens in the past. Lots of people ask me about what my childhood was like, but never ever asked me what was I like as a child in Israel. So I grew up in Israel, 1970, I'm 54. Came to Australia at the age of 16. I'm from a small city in the north called Nahariya. Nahariya is 10 kilometers from the borders with Lebanon. And during the 1982 war, Nahariya was the main target. So some memories of my childhood was actually sitting in shelter and hearing bombs falling all around me. Back in 1982, there was no Iron Dome. So when a rocket was shot from Lebanon, it actually fell in my suburbs. So that was part of my childhood. Saying that, I've got 3 daughters in Melbourne right now. They're 22 almost, 19 and 16. And between you and me, I think they're having an extremely boring life. My life back in the 70s in our area was unbelievable. I had an amazing childhood without silly mobile phones, tech. I was a great soccer player. We lived 200 meters from a beautiful Mediterranean Sea. So a lot of surfing, sun, and action. I was a very, very active child. Parents were working hard and you had to fend for yourself. And it was a lot of fun. We live in beautiful homes in our suburbs here. On the piece of land that I'm living right now in Israel, we probably had about 40 different families. I lived in an apartment with 3 bedrooms. I shared a room with my brother Chezi. Chezi is also my partner when it comes to everything that we have built over the years. Obviously, every Jewish grandmother wants their child to be a doctor, lawyer, or accountant, or that's the way that it used to be. But I grew up in a house that was very entrepreneurial. So I'm looking at my friends in Melbourne that grew up in different homes, and quite often, if the parent is one of those 3 professions, most likely you will continue down that path. My dad was always a trader of sorts. He ran a small store of electronics, both in Israel and later on in Melbourne. So at our dinner table, we never talked about sports or politics. It was really about entrepreneurial conversations. So I'm guessing I received a lot of that from home. Until the age of 32, I worked with my father in a store in Brighton called Panasales.
The traffic stops at Panasales. Panasales 56-hour warehouse sale is on now.
Where do you go to?
This is very much a Caulfield Brighton store. I've lived in Caulfield for the last 38 years. I believe that I went to the best university between the age of 20 and 30, and that was the retail store, where I've learned to market, to sell, to deal with suppliers, to deal with customers, workers, HR issues, etc. And around the age of 32, I was shown eBay for the first time. It was around 2002 or so. Very early days of online shopping, and we were there at the right place at the right time to jump at the opportunity. So firstly, why did we move? The reason is looking for a better life. There was really no other reason. Honestly, 16 to 18 was probably the hardest period in my personal life. I came with very basic English of an Israeli kid that finished year 10. I jumped into year 11 at Mount Scopus, studying subjects like chemistry, biology, maths, English, with very basic English. Spent a lot of my time doing ESL, English as a second language. So it was quite hard. Finding friends wasn't that easy. People thought that I was rude and possibly arrogant. I never said please and thank you. I still don't use it very often. So yeah, the transition was not easy. As soon as I got my first, my license at the age of 18 and bought my first car, the Holden Gemini, I used to go to Wanturna Market every single Sunday. So quite often after going to a nightclub and going out at night, I would find myself queuing at the Wanturna Market at 5 a.m. I used to buy fashion garments from a factory in in Oakley, and I used to sell it at the market and did that very successfully. That was part of my education as well, you know, as an 18-year-old kid with a strong accent, screaming at the market and creating attention. And it's a period that I look at, you know, with fond memories. I'll take the watch off. It's too much attention, you know. I prefer my Casio calculator watch, you know. I've done some funny ones in my life. My favorite is me pushing George Costanza in a supermarket trolley. That is a good one. Generally, when you get interviewed for like a TV news show, you're never the one. You always get interviewed together with 3 or 4 other competitors. And you got to find a way to have that edge. And I always knew how to get that, you know. So they finished the show with my line instead of someone else's line, you know, because that's what people remember. Hey, I got a good one. Next to the garage where Catch was started at number 151 Escadale Road, next to the garage. The suburban garage was at Unit 1 at 51 Escadale Road that I rented from Gary Peer.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. My second daughter was born there, Shira. Shira is now 19 years old. So interestingly, my brother came up with the concept of catch of the day. Prior to that, we were selling on eBay, very early days of online shopping. Interestingly, not many people were shopping online, but not many people were selling online at the same time. So, you know, quite a lot of people call us pioneers of e-commerce. If I could talk about something else, and that's timing, you know. We picked the right time to launch an e-commerce site, but you never know what the right time is. I'm quite familiar with people that started selling online 5 years earlier than us, but no one was buying online around that time, and for that reason, their businesses failed. So yeah, I think we were there spot on at the right time to be able to build a quick database and create a lot of buzz around the brand of Catch of the Day. And when we started, all I wanted to do is make sure that I have enough money to pay Gary Peer for the rent and pay for the kids' food and possibly send them to kindergarten. We had no high aspirations. We never used the term startup or success in any way. We just basically were looking for a job. And the rest sort of happened, you know. The business kept on growing, more customers get to hear about it, and we just sold more and more every week. So our second business that we launched vertically was Scoopon. That was in 2010. By then, Catch of the Day was already 4 years old, quite successful, both financially, and we had in the business what we like to refer to as a toolbox. And the toolbox is the employees, it's financial backing, it's a large database, it's a tech department, and so on. I remember my brother showing me one night this great business from America called Groupon. And we looked at it and said, wow, this has a lot of the elements of Catch, but it's just playing in very different verticals. So Groupon was selling discounted restaurant offerings, travel offerings, entries to parks, and so on. And we built it in-house, and it was a huge success. We saw the success that we managed to generate by launching Groupon vertically, and we ended up doing that in various other verticals. Our next business was one called Grocery Run. Would you believe we actually sold groceries online before Coles and Woolworths? Way before Coles and Woolworths, from 2011. The next one was sort of a baby bunting online, a business we called MumGo at the time, with the slogan, "Where Mums Go." And our most successful one, which really happened around the same period, everything happened around 2010 to 2012, was a business called Eat Now. We spotted around the world the opportunity that people were ordering their food online. Sounds obvious today, but it wasn't that obvious around 2011, 2012. And there was really only one player in the market that was doing that well, and that was Menulog. Today we're all familiar with Deliveroo and Uber Eats and DoorDash, etc., but those brands were not in existence back then. And we launched a competitor to Menulog. We called it Eat Now, and we gave them a serious run for their money, a very good fight, to a point that within a couple of years, we probably had about 30% of the Australian food delivery market. We ended up merging with Menulog. In the book, I talk about the concept of 1 + 1 = 3. And that basically refers to the opportunity to merge two competing businesses and turn them into one very strong, successful business. And that's what we did with Menulog. And within 5 months, it got sold for loads of money. look, you pinch yourself, you ask yourself, why is it happening to me? How did it happen to me? I was probably the poorest out of all my friends that were going down some great directions. And I was just that guy selling televisions and microwaves in a retail store. Yes, I'm quite jealous of young entrepreneurs that I meet regularly. Yesterday I walked with a 20-year-old around Caulfield Park, and they share with me their dreams and aspirations and their new business idea. Most of them are relating to tech and startup and the internet, which is something that I couldn't do when I was 20 because it wasn't in existence. So, I mean, I was some sort of a late bloomer. I don't know. This is embarrassing. I'm just walking in my neighborhood, you know. Hey guys. Can I get a couple of coffees and we'll advertise you? All right, let's take a seat, Matt. Me and you, we're just gonna sit here like that. We're gonna drink our coffee. And the dog in the middle maybe, come bring the dog here. All right, let's take some photos while Goosey's in a good mood. Honestly, there weren't many make or break comments. The model that we've launched as Catch of the Day, and quickly to elaborate on that, we sold 1 deal a day. We found an unbelievable deal from a local supplier. We bought it in large volumes and we sold it in large volumes, and we relied on word of mouth. Would you believe, I mean, I'm talking here to the marketing department at Gary Peer, we did not spend a single cent on marketing in our 7 years in operation. Our growth was truly by word of mouth. People told their friends about the latest products that they purchased, the latest pair of shoes and how much they saved, and that made the business grow and grow to a point where we had, I don't know, maybe call it 3 million users. By 2010, we were Australia's most visited online shopping site. But I'll tell you what was difficult, and I often refer to that as growing pains. The business was growing very, very quickly. In our first 5 years, we doubled every year. And when I say doubled, we doubled sales, we doubled the packaging, we doubled the employees in the office, we doubled our warehouse space. We moved 5 warehouses in 5 years. Our first warehouse was 200 square meters. Our second one was 2,000. The third one was 4,000. Then it was 16,000. And by year 6, we had 3 offices and 3 warehouses. And that is a pain in the ass. Just dealing with real estate agents. And those real estate agents didn't trust us in the first 4 years because they've never heard of Catch, etc. But yeah, growing pains was the hardest hurdle that we had to deal with. And it happened every day. By the way, we talked today so far about a lot of our success stories, and those success stories are documented, they're in the book, there have been Google articles, etc. But the truth is we have failed just as many times as we have succeeded. There were so many businesses and elements and projects that we tried to build within that Catch group that have failed, and some we may have spent millions of dollars on, and then we've put them in the bin for various reasons. There may have been HR, there may have been timing, it may have been financial, etc. So we have failed quite a lot of times. I'll talk about one story, for example. Around 2015 or so, a fashion brand that everyone should know called Pumpkin Patch went out of business. And we suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out. When we see an opportunity, we want to be involved in it. And we ended up buying the remains of the Pumpkin Patch brand. And we tried to bring it up to life, and we spent a bit of money and time and build a new team. But the truth is, without elaborating too much, it wasn't successful. And the decision was made after 1.5 years to put it in the bin. We ended up selling it to someone else. But we realized that designing fashion and importing it to the country from somewhere else is not what we are good at. It wasn't part of our DNA. Sometimes you just need to say, maybe it's time to stop chasing that rabbit and move on to something else. And we've failed just as many times as we've succeeded. But no one remembers that. So we launched in 2006. Catch was launched to Wesfarmers, Australia's #1 conglomerate of retail, the owner of Bunnings, Kmart, Target, in late 2019. Interestingly, we sold it 6 months before COVID. That gave a massive push to e-commerce businesses. We've never really tried to sell it, but around 2018, Wesfarmers have approached us. They were very impressed by our recently launched marketplace. Marketplace allowed other sellers to sell on Catch. and that allowed our revenue to grow. West farmers were interested in catch because they looked for a way to counteract the recent arrival of Amazon in the country. Amazon arrived in Australia in December 2017. Why did we sell? We were probably a little bit tired. The heat, the kitchen became a little bit too hot. We've all seen lots and lots of businesses that used to be really high, and for one reason or another, a year or two later are worth close to nothing or are at a very low position. And we just didn't want to be one of those businesses that will regret it one day. That's the truth. Very sad. You know, people have asked me that quite a lot, and Catch shut down about a month ago. And as I mentioned, I've got 3 daughters that are roughly the same age as Catch. I look at Catch as another one of my daughter, and honestly, I feel really sad. So to me, this logo means so much. I made that logo. It's sad for me to know that there's not going to be a continuation to that, and this will become some sort of a vintage logo that in 5 years people will not remember. But it's something that I'm very proud of. When I meet people, when I introduce myself, I say I'm the co-founder of Catch, you know, and it's something that I'm very proud of.
If you knew it would have come to this, would you have sold it?
Not really, because the decision to sell was ours, and everyone knows that there was a history to Catch before Gabby and Chezi, and there was a Catch after Gabby and Chezi. So everything that happened after we sold is not our fault exactly, you know, but everyone is missing it, from suppliers that are missing it, and they tell me quite often, to ex-workers that tell us that this was the best job they've ever had, you know. So there's a lot of pride in that brand and the history that we've created. Come, Goose. Come, beauty. Come to Gabby. Oh, come, sit here. Sit here. All right, ask me a question. I live about 200 meters from here. I've lived in Caulfield for the last 38 years, Goosey, since arriving from Israel. And I've told many people over a number of occasions that if you give me a free house in Toorak or Brighton, I would not move there. Every day I bump into Mr. Philip Kingston at Ministry Coffee or at Dixie across the road. I love chatting to people that I know and don't know, and it makes me really happy. In terms of community, yes, I'm a people's person. You know, we've built a business with 500 employees, and I'm very proud to say that no one that worked at Catch ever wanted to leave our business, you know. And a place of work is like a family. I've been following your business forever, and I can see it's the same people, it's the same photos. People don't go, and there's a reason for it. I often saw an interesting line: you can judge the culture of the company by how the employees feel on a Sunday, but your average employee out there is always looking forward to come to work at Catch, because it's like going back to your family. And these are people that you enjoy playing basketball with or going for a walk around the park, but also kick goals and make some money along the way. We appeal to everyone, young and old, people in Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, country or city, because people always love a bargain, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. And that was the main reason for the success of Catch of the Day. We managed to put great bargains on the page, and the rest is history. The consumer is always looking for a good deal, and I don't think that's ever going to change. Our model was generally all about trying to help suppliers in any way that we can to get rid of their end of lines and clearance. And that hasn't changed either. Suppliers will always make mistakes, and opportunities will always be available. The market has certainly changed. My 3 daughters, who are sort of at the end of being teenagers, they don't go to Chadstone. They just shop online every day. There's endless amounts of parcels that keep arriving at home. They don't just shop locally. They'll get things from China and from America and from Japan and from wherever. The market has completely changed. Another thing that has changed in e-commerce is the proliferation of marketplaces. So we were the second marketplaces in the country after eBay, and we've showed everyone that marketplace is the right model because it allows you to sell more and more products that are not stored in your warehouse. And today everyone has opened the marketplace, from Big W to Bunnings to Kmart to Woolworths to Amazon, eBay, Kogan. There's tens of marketplaces all around the country, and I'm quite proud to say that we were the ones that shown the path to the rest of the country. Look, myself and my brother have done everything together since the beginning. There's a line that I often refer to when it comes to this, and it says, when you have two partners and you both think alike, then one of them is not necessary. You can refer that to the two founders of Gary Peer, Philip and Gary, who are extremely different, but there's a special formula that works there. And I suppose the same thing works with my brother. I love logistics, my brother loves tech. I love above-the-line marketing, as in billboards and magazines, and my brother loves digital marketing. We fight about a lot of things, but we seem to agree about other things. Both of us are very much risk takers, you know. You may not find us going to Crown Casino, but we love investing in businesses and taking a risk on our businesses. So somehow we have some kind of a magic formula. I don't know what it is, but it seems to have worked. As I said, I worked with my dad for 10 years. I attribute a lot of my education in retail and marketing to him as well. But I suppose that I get inspired by everyone. I'm quite unusual. I'm a guy that loves walking in Chadstone, unlike my daughters. I love walking in shopping centers and in supermarkets. I like to look at the way items are displayed, marketing, pricing, and everything else. In a way, I enjoy walking and learning about the world. Now, I mean, I've sort of retired 5 years ago, and I find myself with a lot of free time. I find myself getting drawn to, invited to, or want to be involved in as many things as possible. Just like I mentioned earlier, that I suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out when it comes to business and events. I also suffer from FOMO when it comes to anything Melbourne related or Jewish related. So the last 2 years have been very interesting, to say the least. I often get reached out by anyone and everyone. Recently, I had breakfast with an 11-year-old kid that reached out to me and said that he's a seller on the Catch Marketplace and he would love to meet me. And I had breakfast with him and his dad. Giving back is so easy, but I found that when I give back my time, whether I speak at a conference to 500 people or at a breakfast with an 11-year-old, there's always something that you get back. Don't be afraid to ask. And it's something that I've been doing all along. I'll tell you a little story that explains who I am when it comes to that. I got married in Melbourne about 22, 23 years ago. And during the same week, there was a soccer match at Marvel Stadium between an English team called Leeds and a Chilean team called Colo Colo. I sent the organizers an email and I told them that I'm a Leeds supporter, even though I'm not. I'm a Liverpool supporter. And my dream was to get married on a soccer field. Why don't you organize me a wedding at halftime?
It was always my dream to get married on a soccer pitch, and I sent an email to the organizers of this game. Obviously, I didn't expect them to approve it, but they did.
And we got married on the grass in front of 23,000 people. And the moral story here in terms of a business or life or immigrant or anything else is don't be afraid to ask, because the worst thing that can happen is you might get a no, but you might actually get a yes as well. Look, if I have to attribute my success so far, then it's not my success. It was really about the people. So in our book, we actually detail about 200 lessons that we've learned throughout our history. And we say that we have left the best lesson for last. And I'll give you all a book after that. And our last lesson in the book is it's all about the people. And it's really about surrounding yourself with great people and making sure that you bring them along for the ride, and together you can execute the combined dream of the business. And again, I have to talk about Philip and Gary again, and what you guys have achieved at Gary Peer, and it's all about that. And you can see how people are sticking around, people are happy, and happy people work harder, they give more, and they create a successful business in a friendly, happy environment. So it's all about the people. Surround yourself with great people and make sure that they stick with you and make sure that they don't want to leave you. We're working on a small business right now called fingertip.com. From this office, Fingertip allows anyone to build a quick mini website or a link in bio. It's our first global business. Most of our businesses to date were all .com.au, and this is a .com one. But truly, I'm looking to enjoy life, travel, contribute, help, and be healthy.